Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Anna. Today I'll be showing you how I cut this elegant structured mini dress with a clean tailored fit. I'll guide you through the drafting and that transfer. If this is what you would like to see, let's get right into it. The very first step is for you to draft your basic bodice pattern, and I have a full video on basic bodice on my channel. I'm going to put a link up there for you and it's going to redirect you to the video. From the hip depth, go down 8 inches and that is going to be my gown length. Now I'm just going to transfer my bust span measurement also on my gown length just like I am doing, and I would reconnect the line. Next is for you to determine how much exaggeration you want to have on your hip. In this video, from the hip, I went out 2.5 inches, and on the hem, that's on the gown length, I also went out 2.5 inches and I reconnect. If you want to have more exaggeration, feel free to add more inches on the hip and on the hem. Now, if you look closely on the dress, you would notice there is a dart on the neckline and there is also a princess armhole dart, which means we are going to transfer the bust dart to the princess armhole and also transfer it to the neckline. It's pretty easy. I'm going to show you how to go about this. Okay, so you're going to measure your neckline like I am doing and get the midpoint. Mark out the midpoint, then you're going to connect the midpoint to your bust point. Next, we are going to slash open the line coming from the mid neckline and also the princess armhole dart line and close the side dart. So we are just transferring about 0.5 inches to the neckline, and the remaining transfer is going to be given to the princess armhole. Okay, make sure when you're slashing, you do not cut through, just slash up to the tip of the bust point, okay? Okay, close the bust dart, secure it with a tape, and reconnect the underarm back to the waistline. So let's assume we are not transferring any darts to the neckline. We already have our princess armhole cut out. So all you have to do is just to follow that line and cut out and take out the darts, and you are done, okay? Get a piece of paper and place it under the line coming from the mid neckline. Then you're going to spread it by 0.5 inches because the dart shouldn't be too big. It's just about 0.5 inches. So here I am spreading by 0.5 inches and I am going to secure it with a tape. I would also show you how to transfer this dart to your fabric, so please stay till the end of this video. Here I am just trying to rule out the dart legs for it to be clear so I can see, and I am also using a pencil because the dart legs are really tiny and I don't want to eat into my measurement. That's why I'm using pencil instead of marker for you to see. We are going to throw the dart leg and just fold the darts on each other, then reconnect the neckline. Okay. The next step is for us to draft the high neck. On the neck depth, go up by 1 inch or 1.5 or 2 inches, depending on how high you want the neck to be. On the neck point, come in by 0.25, and at that 0.25 inches mark, you're going to go up by either 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches, depending on how high you want the neck to be. In our case, I went up by 1.5 inches. You're going to connect these 2 points with a straight line. Now at that 1.5 inches mark, you're going to go out by another 0.5 inches and you're going to mark that point. Now you're going to get your curved ruler and connect the new point you marked to your shoulder seam, like so. And that is your high neck. Now, like I said, depending on how high you want the neck to be, I increased the front neck by ½ inch to make it 1.5, and you're going to reconnect. Also, you would extend the dart legs to the new neckline that you drew. And because there is a dart on that point, we need to through the dart by folding the two dart legs on each other and reconnecting the neckline, like so. So that's basically how to draft the eye neck for the front. Now, what we did on the front, we are going to repeat the same thing on the back. Also, we are not going to cut out the dart on the neck. We are transferring it to our fabric like so, and I am going to show you how to go about it. We are done with the front. Let's move on to the back. Same thing we did on the front, we are going to do on the back. On the neck point, go out by 0.25 inch, and on the 0.25 inch mark, you're going to go up by either 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches, depending on how high you want the neck to be. Connect these 2 points together with a straight line. Go out by 0.5 inches at that point. Then you're going to take your curved ruler and connect to your shoulder seam. And that is the eye neck for the back. When I'm about to connect the curve on the shoulder seam, I am going to double check where the curve meets the shoulder seam in order for my front shoulder and my back shoulder to align. And that is what you're seeing me do here. The process is pretty easy. Just watch closely and you would get it. On the center back neck, I went up by 1 inch, then I reconnected to get my new neckline. So here I am just trying to check my measurement from the neck points to the shoulder tip so that when I'm joining, I don't have issues and they are perfectly aligned. The next step is to mark our button stand. On the center back, come down 2 inches. That is going to be our button stand. On the armhole, pick any point, mark the point, and connect it to the end of your button stand. On the armhole again, come down 1 inch. On the chest line, come down by 1 inch as well and connect this curve. Now, because the back is wide now, there are chances that it is going to gape. So we are going to do what we call tightening at that part. So on the dart point, you're going to go out 0.25 on both sides and you're going to reconnect your dart leg. Now, this way, your back is not going to gape. Your back neckline is not going to gape, okay? So I'm going to refold that dart leg to through the dart and reconnect the back opening so that it perfectly aligns with each other. So I'm going to have 4 buttons on my neck, 4 tiny buttons. Now I will proceed to trace out my pattern. Also, I'm going to extend the bust span leg on the dart to the hem of the dress. Now, for those that do not want to have opening on the back, you can have a princess seam on the back, and that is what you see me illustrating. This is just for illustration purposes for those that don't want to have opening on the back. So I'm going to show you how to transfer the dart on the neck to your fabric. Do not close the dart, just leave it as it is. You are cutting your fabric that way. So I would like to point out something. I made 2 versions of this dress, one in black and one in white. For the black, I used this exact measurement. Remember, we added 2.5 inches on our pattern on the hip and on the hem of the dress. And that was the way I cut the black dress. But for the white on the hem, I added 5 extra inches instead of 2.5. Now the effect is that it's going to give me a flared out look. So if you want it to look more flared instead of looking straight, you should increase the measurement you have on the hem of your dress. So let me repeat again. On the pattern, on the hip, I added 2.5 inches for the white dress, and on the hem, I increased it to 5 inches, and this is what we have. I absolutely love it. Also, the wider your dress is on the hem, the longer it becomes. So in order to eliminate that sharp edge on the hem, just measure out what you have from your waist to on the center, from your waist to the hem, and impute that same measurement to eliminate the sharp edges. Okay. And that is what you see me doing. I don't want it to be sharp. I'm just eliminating it. It's very tiny, but it's going to have a good effect. Next, we are going to move to drafting our sleeve. I also have a sleeve pattern on my channel, and I am going to put the link up there for you to see how I drafted this sleeve. So this measurement is up to your wrist. Now, in order to get how long you want your sleeve to be, just measure from your wrist to where you want the sleeve to hit on your finger. And for me, I have 5 inches. You're going to attach a plain paper on your wrist, and you're going to mark out the extra 5 inches. Okay, just bring down, mark it out, and rule a straight line. Here, I'm just bringing down the same measurements I have on my wrist. I'm bringing it down to that part, and I'm going to roll it. Okay, bring down the same measurements you have on your wrist to your new sleeve length, like so. On the hem of the sleeve, there is a flared effect, and to achieve this flared, we are going to do slash and spread. Go up by 1 inch on the original wrist measurement and draw a straight line. Then you're going to slash the middle of the sleeve open and slash it across the new line you just drew. Make sure you're not cutting through, just cut to the tip, like so, and you will spread. Now get another piece of paper and place it underneath the part where we spread. But before you place it, you're going to rule a straight line on the piece of paper, and this is to help us centralize the sleeve because it has to be equal on 2 sides. Next, you're going to determine how wide you want the flared to be. For me, I used 11 inches. To note the measurements that would work for you, just put your tape rule around your fingers like I am doing and let there be a little bit of ease. Determine how wide you want it to be or how tight you want it to be. I have 11, then I am going to divide 11 by 2. I have 5.5, which means when I spread my sleeve, it has to be 5.5 from the edge of my sleeve up to that center line I drew earlier. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this and show you that what I have is 5.5. After doing this, I am going to tape it down with my masking tape, and I'm going to use my curve to connect the 2 parts of the sleeve, then cut it out. And that is all about the sleeve. When you're about to sew the sleeve, you're going to sew it from the beginning up till, you remember I asked you to go up by 1 inch from your original wrist measurement. So when sewing, you're going to stop at that point, and your slit is going to open from that point to the hem of your sleeve. Okay, so here I'm just trying to get the hem of my sleeve to be sure that I have the same measurements on the 2 parts, and I am going to cut it out. All right, cut out your pattern pieces and place them on fabric. For the dart transfer on the neck, I am going to show you how to transfer that to your fabric. So I don't want it too low. That was why you see me increasing. That's what you see me doing. I don't want it really low. I don't want it too revealing. Okay, that's the back pattern piece. All right, and that is the front pattern piece. Okay, I also cut lining. I used a very light polyester lining for the dress. It's pretty light. Now for the dart transfer, you're going to mark out that point that you see me marking, then go up by 1 inch. Go up by 1 inch. Then you're going to put a pin. For the dart leg, I want it to be about 5 to 6 inches. I don't want it too long. So just put your pin there so that you're going to know that that is the point where your dart is. Put a pin there and mark it with a pencil. I'm using a pencil because the dart legs are really tiny. If I use a chalk, I might eat into my original measurement. Okay, just watch closely. I'm not gonna, just watch closely, please. Okay, don't forget, I already indicated the dart leg with a pencil. So what I will do now, on the wrong side, I'm just going to connect the dart legs to the dart point with a straight ruler. We might not be able to see it because it's faint, and I'm also trying to avoid staining the dress. Okay, the first thing you will do is to rule the center dart leg, the center dart leg. Once you rule that, mark out how long you want the dart leg to be. I want it to be about 6 inches. Then connect the dart legs to the apex, which is 6. You can ignore the remaining length of the dart because it's really, really tiny. See, they are so tiny, so it's not going to affect your feet at the end of the day. That was why I told us initially that we are just doing 0.5 inches. So when you're taking your darts on each side, is going to be 0.25, 0.25, 0.25 on each side. Can you see that the dart transfer is pretty easy? Make sure you draw it out, because if you do not draw it out, there are chances you might make error. So that is that about the dart transfer. I'll take all of this to my sewing table and I am going to sew. Everything I do on the main fabric, I am going to do on the lining as well. So that's it, guys. Here is the finished dress. If you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up and tell me in the comments which style you would like next. Thank you. Bye-bye.